See, Veronica, yay, Veronica. Arlene, I saw her earlier. Delaney's here. Hi, Carol.
Oh, okay.
And then you can
Susan.
viewing.
Let's get everybody side by side. Okay. Hi, Bobbi.
Hi, Susan. Who do you have with you?
This is my sister Janie.
Hi.
She's a fellow quilter.
Wonderful. Welcome.
And my husband, Andre.
Andre, nice to meet you. And I
Nice
see
to
Lynn
meet
Flaherty. Welcome,
Hey,
Lynn.
Bobbi,
Where are
nice to
you?
see you.
All right.
He's gone. You'll get to meet him in June.
Okay, yes.
Person. That'll be
Looking
fun.
forward to it.
It'll be fun. This was really fun. You know? Oh. I'm sorry, there's all these people coming and going here today.
People win.
Bye-bye, Jeff. Take care.
I mean, they're gonna be busy for almost an hour.
The guy who was in the lead.
It's good to meet everybody else here.
A lot of that.
This is great.
It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Deborah. You look fine.
You just don't look from the neck down.
Oh, me too.
Hi, Bobby.
I've been dressed up the last 2 days. This one's a little bit easier.
It's just so early out here.
Yes, I'm sure it is. See, it's just what, 9 o'clock now?
Yeah, I know that doesn't sound that early, but I'm a late riser.
Where are you? Where are
Just
you?
in California.
Oh, you're in California. Right, we're from all over the place.
We really are.
Oh, my goodness. From Kenya to the other side of the world.
And Boston.
And Boston. So we have Boston, New York, California, and
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. There's Jane. Jane is from Massachusetts. Did I get that right, Jane?
Yes, I live on Cape Cod.
Right.
Oh. Let me see, side by side.
And you've got a representative from Sharon, Massachusetts.
Sharon, Massachusetts.
That's not far.
No, I know where that is, Laura.
Yes.
Laura, you don't happen to know Laura Rosenspan. I know it's
Familiar face.
Laura.
Susan,
I didn't realize you were part of this.
you invited me.
And look who's here. Karen is here.
That's amazing. That's
But I know
amazing.
Bobby Fitzsimmons. I've seen that face. I know that name.
Laura, you didn't-
Becoming infamous here.
That's
Hi,
crazy.
hi, Carol Churchill.
I see you. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Looks like you're outdoors on a patio.
Oh, and Kathy Labonte joined us and Rhonda.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, look at,
It's 21.
I know
screens
all
so
of your
far.
faces from the photographs, but it is so wonderful to see you all here this afternoon. There's Jonathan.
Thank you for
Okay.
having us. Are the Kenyan quilters going to be joining us?
Well, that's our hope. And one of them has signed in just now.
Oh, great.
She was here. Is she gone already?
Karen Mabayaki.
Yes, Karen.
Stella just joined as well.
Oh, great. We don't have Jill yet. Here's Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi everyone, how are you? Hello.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's been long. Happy to see you, all of you.
It's lovely to see you too.
Hello, Karen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
I know all of you have received your catalogs, but I hope you're seeing the slideshow on your screens right now.
Yes,
Yes.
Wonderful.
Good.
Beautiful. Got the book.
The quilts were wonderful. I love the variety.
There's
Oh,
Stella.
that last one, rest by day, hunt by night, very clever. Beautiful.
What time
I
are we?
love the border.
When should we start? A lot of people still logging on.
Hi, Melinda.
Eleanor's there. Hi, Eleanor Levy. Super duper. There she is.
Susan Louis, am I going to see your quilt?
It's coming. I guess it's coming. It should be there.
This is gonna be a party.
These are
I
wonderful.
have 27 participants already.
How many? Oh, there are 27.
Oh,
I think that was it.
Wonderful, that's attractive.
Many are in the catalog. Many are in the catalog.
Linda Barth,
How many? I see the
Ann Hudson. Oh, that's my friend.
Oh, I love this.
Do
one.
they go by a little quick, so make sure I know.
I remember.
Well, you'll see it. It's the,
It's the very last one in the catalog, right?
it was the last one in the catalog and it was the flamingo.
And it's the cover photo of the catalog.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
Yeah, it's well, it's the cover of Agnes on the cover. She has the embroidered piece before it came to me. Here it is.
How many quilts in all?
We have 39 quilts.
39.
Wow.
Wonderful, that's great.
Amazing.
Ooh, that's very bold.
That's
That's great.
beautiful.
Oh,
I love the difference. The way people put it together was so different.
so different, yeah.
Yeah, very different, very clever. It's so pretty. Oh,
We're almost to that flamingo.
it's the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, like. We're not getting people. That's it.
Oh,
That's
there it
mine.
is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, it's all quilted on the side. You can't see it. It's quilted with
You can see it.
palm leaves.
Oh,
all
nice.
Oh,
along the
yes.
Oh, yeah, that's subtle.
You can't
Great.
see it very clearly.
Christine, hi, Christine.
I like
Hi,
that it has a detail.
sorry, technical difficulties.
I love the water by its feet when it touches the surface.
Let me just see if there's,
Okay, how many do you think we have?
We have 30 so far, so I think we're still
Mhm.
waiting for a few people.
So yeah, we can wait a
Yeah.
couple more minutes.
In the meantime, just a few Zoom reminders. We're going to have a lot of participation from the crowd today, but if you guys could just stay muted in the meantime so there's not any background noise that gets picked up, that would be wonderful.
But not yet. You're still welcome to
Still
chat
chat,
among
yes.
yourselves because I know you have so much to say.
Oh, good, because I want to tell people these are so beautiful.
Well, and Susan, you made such a wonderful point that, here's your beautiful quilt and you can't see the quilting on it.
yeah,
And even though we have this wonderful catalog and everyone has told us how wonderful they are, when they walked into the exhibit these last 2 days, it was, breathtaking is exactly the right word.
yeah. I believe
Especially
that.
Friday when the sun was out, it was just, lit up the room and the quilts as
Certainly.
well.
And it's no way to replace in person. I mean,
No,
it's
no.
amazing.
Absolutely not.
Especially not for this crowd. You all know what goes into it. And when you look at those stitches up close, when you look at the beadwork, when you just look at the fabric they've used, there's just nothing to replace in person.
Yes, up close and time, to take time.
Yeah.
Right.
As
And
we say,
even though
slow
we're not
looking.
supposed to touch,
No touching, but slow looking. It's called slow looking.
slow looking, I haven't heard that before. I like it very much.
Yeah, in the museum world, that's the language. That's what they're saying.
Bobby,
Encouraging.
did you quilt that? That was yours, Bobby?
Yes, that was mine.
Oh, okay. Somehow.
Wish I could go back and see.
I love this one.
Oh, you can there. Oh, good.
Oh,
No, this,
Oh,
that is
oh,
gorgeous.
I love the combination of hexagons and all different.
Yeah.
That's a great introduction of different
Thank
techniques.
you. And this is actually the first time too that I've used negative space. So
Mm.
down there where the beads are, it's actually holes in the quilt, I guess.
You know, I hadn't thought to take the flamingo out of the rectangle, meaning I left it intact. So I was really intrigued to see how people reduced the original piece and incorporated it. I thought it was really
Right.
quite lovely.
And Bobby, were you saying that that bottom course of half hexagons were holes in the quilt?
Yes, that's open space.
Okay, so little vertical lines of the beads hanging down.
Right, the beads are just hanging down and, free moving.
See, another one where we would see it in person and get so much more. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I would not have noticed. Oh, there are the trees, I remember.
Okay, Abby,
I say give it another minute or so and then we can get started.
okay, another minute.
We're up to
We certainly want to be
35.
respectful of everyone's time, but the conversation is everything I had hoped it would be already.
Oh, look at that with a river running through it.
Yeah.
that's gorgeous.
Again,
So
a good
well.
combination of things.
This is great.
Kenny Lion King.
Oh, that's stunning.
Stunning.
Very cute.
That's my favorite, the little cat.
I love the wildcat.
I'm impressed that you could pick a favorite. I've lived with them for several months now, and every day it's a
Well,
different one.
I love them all, but if I had to choose just
Mhm,
one,
Sure.
that little cat hanging out all by itself is just adorable. I love it.
Oh, this is gorgeous. I mean, I think they're all really spectacular. So
Bobby,
different.
a
Yes.
question. So I noticed some of the quilts have no bids. What happens to the quilts that don't get any bids by the end of the auction?
Well, that's a good question. At this point, we're really hopeful, given our experience with the last auction. Many bids came in at the last minute. Some people are sitting back waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But at this point, we do have some plans going forward that we want to talk about towards the end of our session today, which I hope you all will find exciting. And that might be a solution if we do in fact end up with one or two that don't have bids. But I would say, hold on till next Saturday night and we may see fireworks.
Yay.
All right, well, we are back at
Yeah,
the end.
wonderful. That is great.
I love that one.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, with that, I think we can get started and I'll keep an eye on the participants and let any stragglers in.
Hi,
but-
Connie.
Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby.
Hello, one and all. It's nice to see the whole screen with all these beautiful faces.
Sorry for the teddy bear, but I can't find my Zoom camera thing. It's probably under a pile of fabric here.
There's Victoria.
Hello, quilters. What creative women have joined today?
Hi, nice to see you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I mean, I've been working on this project for probably an entire year now, and it's crazy because I've seen all of your work and I've read all your bios, but it's just so wonderful to be able to see an actual moving face as opposed to just a still photo. So I'm really happy to kind of get to see everyone and see the people who have made this project really what it is.
Someone has asked in the chat how long this get together will be.
We are planning on it going anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, but if you guys need to hop out early, absolutely feel free to. This is an event that we're putting on for you guys. So don't feel bad. And this will be recorded and we will share the link later. So if anyone has to drop out for any reason, you can catch up on what you missed.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, I say we get
So
started.
without further ado,
Yeah.
go.
So welcome everyone to Sister Artist 2. I mean, it's very exciting for all of us to have been a part of it. Just a few reminders again. If you all could stay muted for this initial part, and then we'll open it up a lot more to discussion later. We really want to hear everyone talking, but for now, at least, let's try and limit some of that background noise by staying muted.
Abby.
Sorry. But all righty. Well, my name is Abby. I have been working on Sister Artists for, as I said, a year now. And I have been responsible for doing a lot of the physical, or I guess virtual website stuff that you've seen. So the pages, I've helped a lot on the catalog and a lot of all that stuff. We have Bobbi, who I'm sure all of you guys know. She is our quilter extraordinaire who made her own quilt, but also I think was responsible for getting a lot of the more creative aspects of this project off the ground. We have Jill. We'll be hearing from her in a little bit. I don't know if Jill wants to wave her hand or something, but she is our connection in Kenya, who's really helped us to kind of organize all the different ladies that we've been working with, along with our two superstars, Stella and Karen, who we will also be hearing from later, and then just various members of the AP team. So with that, I say we get started, just, saying a little bit of the background of this project. So Bobbi, take it away.
Welcome, everyone. I can't tell you how long I have waited for and anticipated this day to see all these faces together. This past summer was Christmas for me almost every day as the quilts started to arrive. And I will talk a little bit more about that later, but I wanted to introduce the rest of our team as well. We're a small but tenacious group. So we have Delaney Rogers. There's Delaney, who manages our projects. We have Jonathan Brummel, who is responsible in main part for the glorious catalog that you all have in your possession now. And of course, we have Iain Guest, who keeps us all together. He does all of our writing, keeps us on our toes. And he's going to talk a little bit about AP to get us started in the background of this project. And then we'll get to each one of you and some of the Kenyan sisters who I see Beldine. I'm so excited that she's here, and so is Kathy Labonte. So you all will get to speak together too. So Iain, would you like to say a few words to this fabulous gathering?
Sure, with pleasure. And Bobbi, you better mute.
I'm going to mute.
Right. Okay. Well, again, let me echo what Abby and Bobbi have said, and welcome everyone. As Bobbi said, we've been living with your wonderful quilts for some time now, and we're going to be very, very unhappy to see them leave. We'll talk a little bit later about what happens next with the quilts and with the auction, but this really is an absolutely wonderful occasion for us at AP, at the Advocacy Project. As most of you know by now, we're a very small NGO based in Washington, and our job is to work with community advocates and activists like Stella and Karen in Nairobi. And we're currently supporting about 15 different projects around the world, which are all extremely exciting. But Nairobi is very, very close to our hearts. And I can't tell you how exciting it is for us to see Stella, Karen, and Beldine on this call. First time I think we managed to do this. So I thought I'd just spend a couple of minutes telling you where Sister Artists fits into the bigger scale of things, and in particular into our quilting project. And there's some names here. Susan, you may remember we worked together some years ago, I think, on a Nepal quilt. I think I saw Kathy from Indiana. Is Kathy, do I see Kathy? Kathy Springer. So we, as many of you know, we do offer the opportunity to our partners to tell their story through embroidery. This started as long ago as 2007, when we began to work with survivors of the Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia. And those ladies produced memorial squares about the people who had been killed in the massacre, their loved ones. And it was put together a very, very powerful sort of woven tapestry, which was a little bit like the AIDS quilt here in the US. And it was very, very effective. I mean, we took it around, we showed it all over the world, in fact. And that quilt popped up all over the place. And we realized that there is that talent, there's that hunger to tell your story out there. So we've been offering this ever since. And storytelling through embroidery is a very, very important part of our work. Now, our quilting work as a whole is only one aspect of the work we do with partners. And Delaney, who's on this call, manages all of our projects. So if any of you want to get in touch with her directly about projects, please do so. And she is on the phone weekly with Karen and Stella in Nairobi to talk through the work that they're doing. We'll hear a bit more of that in a moment. So to come back to the quilting, Bobbi coordinates all of our quilting work. Abby obviously supports us. So the two of them are our quilting team. And they have done an amazing job, I must say. Bobbi came in several years ago and made a quilt for us. I think, Bobbi, your first quilt was from Kosovo, for women in Kosovo. And she's made several since then. And we call those advocacy quilts. So people tell the story through embroidery, comes up here to the States, and then we get a fantastic quilter like you on this call to pull them together and make them into what we call an advocacy quilt. And these really are works of art. Maybe we'll have time to show you a couple before the end of this presentation. And we then take those quilts and we use them to push for change, for social change, or to raise money for the partners, whatever it might be. And that's what we've been doing for some time now. I think where Sister Artists is different is that it brings artists together from the north, like yourselves, and from the south. Again, we have 5 or 6 people from Kenya, 5 or 6 artists on this call. And Beldine, we've been looking at your lion, Beldine's lion, for the last week and enjoying that. So your names are, I think, very familiar to all of us. But this idea of connecting quilters, fiber artists from the south and the north is new. And to have you working together on the same quilt is really fantastic. Now, as you know, we tried it for the first time a couple of years ago when we worked with Malian embroidery. And several of you produced quilts, wonderful quilts from that, which we showed at the Textile Museum and we then auctioned. And the profits from that went back into, or are going back into, our friends in Mali. So Sister Artists 2 is a repeat, working with Kenyan embroidery, Kenyan wildlife stories. We had a big event at the Textile Museum yesterday. It went extremely well. Some of you were there. Veronica, thank you. Thank you for posting so quickly on social media. That was spectacular. It was just really great to see. We had 4 or 5 quilters there, and that was spectacular. So all of your quilts were shown, they were appreciated. We will be sharing those photographs with you in due course. Purpose of today is to connect you, bring you all together, which Bobbi and Abby are going to do. So without further ado, I'm going to pass on to you and get on with that good business of connections. Thank you, everyone, again.
Thanks so much, Iain. Abby, can you tell me if Jill is on?
She is.
Okay.
Jill, you'll
Well,
need to unmute.
Okay, as we've started, as we started this project with Sister Artists in Kenya, it really didn't begin there. It began with an earlier project, and that's what I'm going to ask Jill Ribello to tell you about. And I don't want to go into it too much. Jill is our friend who lives in South Africa, and she has worked very hard to bring our Kenyan sisters together and has been just a stalwart. So Jill, if you could just tell us a little bit about how this whole connection with the Advocacy Project and the Sister Artists in Kenya began. I'd really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobbi, and good evening and welcome to you all. Actually, Bobbi, you got it wrong. Not South Africa, Kenya.
I'm sorry, did I say South Africa?
You did, yes.
I haven't had much sleep the
No,
last couple of days.
I live in Kenya. I've lived in Kenya for over 50 years, so I'm British born. Well, when I came on board, I knew nothing about the advocacy project. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know anything. And out of the blue, I got an email from Iain. Unfortunately, I haven't kept it, so I can't exactly remember what it said. But something to the effect, would you like to be involved, or will you please do a project which involves getting together 20-25 young ladies who are having difficult lives, maybe at a disadvantage in the modern world, and teach them to embroider, and then get them to embroider a scene from life in Africa showing the difficulties they face in their day-to-day lives. These embroideries will be made into a quilt by an American quilter, and the finished quilt is to be exhibited at the UNFPA, UN Family Planning Association Summit in Kenya. We're a very big center for UN. In fact, we're the third largest UN set of agencies in the world after New York and Geneva, isn't it? No, people don't really know that, but we're very big. So the summit was coming up in November. This must have been August. I had about 7 or 8 weeks to do this. I founded the Kenya Embroiderers Guild, but I'm first and foremost a quilter, so I haven't done much embroidery for many years. My first problem was, where do I get the young ladies to do this? How can I find in a matter of days 20-25 young ladies? But some friends whom I was teaching quilting, beginner quilt classes to, came to my rescue, and they gave me contacts with Stella in the Kibera side of Nairobi and Karen in Kangemi. And we fixed a date. I was chairman of the Kenya Quilt Guild at that point. My deputy was Sigrun, a very lovely Danish lady. And we were very close. She hadn't been in Kenya long. She was an expatriate, but we were very close. And when I told her, and I said, now I have to find a location. How am I going to find a room big enough for 25 people plus teacher plus me and everything else that's needed? And she said, oh, you can have my garage, which had electric points set up and tables. So that was the first hurdle. So we fixed a meeting date, and Karen and Stella came along, each bringing, I think Karen brought about 8 or 10. Sorry, Stella bought 8 or 10, Karen bought more. We ended up with 20 plus anyway. And young ladies who didn't know, I don't think any of them, or hardly any of them, had stitched before in their lives, let alone embroidered. It's not taught in schools these days like it was when some of us were younger. Hey, Bobbi.
Right.
And oh yes, now the linchpin to all this was somebody to teach, because although I can embroider, it's many years since I taught. I am a school teacher, and many years since I taught embroidery. But I have a very good friend whom I've mentored for many years, who is a Ugandan refugee who came out of Uganda with her family in Idi Amin's time, when the regime was very harsh. And her mother has earned her living in Kenya by selling embroideries in one of our local markets. And Christine's ambition as a child was to follow suit. And she has achieved her ambition, and she earns her living through embroidery. So I help her whenever I can. So I asked her to come on board as teacher, and she was very happy to do so. She'd been limited to teaching, to stitching animals and scenery, animals, African animals with trees or something like that. She'd never done much in the way of figures before. So we got the group of young ladies, and I did my best to explain to them what this was all about, being almost as much in the dark as them. But I said, I can promise you, you'll make new friends, you'll learn a new skill, we'll produce something beautiful, we'll show we can do it. I don't know what will happen after that. That might be the end in 6-8 weeks. And you can't imagine how they rose to the challenge. We talked about the issues that they might face. And I said, now you go home, when you're walking home or you're on the bus, talk to each other. We want lots of different ideas. And they came up with issues like sanitation issues, domestic violence, early pregnancies, water issues because many Kenyan women have to get water from the rivers still. All sorts of issues like that. And amazingly, they were all different. I didn't have sort of 3 or 4 all doing the same thing. So we did a practice block. The first session, I think we learned the stitches, and then they did simple diagrams. The second session, Christine helped them with drawing, because not only did they have to learn to embroider, they had to learn to draw, really. Most of them had not drawn very much. And in 6 weeks, I think, I enticed everyone with morning tea and biscuits and a hearty lunch, an afternoon tea. And I thought, though, how am I going to keep them there for the whole day? So I started a little raffle every afternoon. I asked all my friends for little things, you know, like the sort of things you might get on an airline or in a hotel, or little trinkets. And everybody rose to the occasion. So at 4 o'clock, we had our raffle, and everybody stayed for the raffle. So everybody did a full day's work. And then when they were almost ready, Bobbi came out, Bobbi and Iain. Bobbi was our lifesaver. I think we had all the blocks ready when you came, didn't we, Bobbi?
We did, yes.
Bobbi had brought the most wonderful background quilt, a map of the world, mostly in blues and earthy colours. And we were to attach our embroidered blocks, applique them to the map of the world. And this is what we did. And we got a little team of a few members of the Kenya Quilt Guild to help. And we spent several days working on that. And lo and behold, this quilt was finished. Now, this was shown at the UNFPA conference. And the amazing thing is that Iain had organized that all the ladies who had stitched or helped came to the conference as full delegates. And if you can imagine that the thrill that is, I mean, for me, going to a UN conference as a delegate was something really special. So this is what happened. They all came. We had a sewing center set up. Bobbi was teaching embroidery. No, you were teaching patchwork, weren't you?
Yeah, patchwork.
And, it was set up there. And we had lots of visitors. We had wonderful displays. Bobbi probably like to tell you more about that. But for our ladies, it was the most wonderful experience. I don't know if you want me to go on from there to the next stage, because the next, there it is. That is the Women's World quilt.
Women's World quilt.
I think you'll have to excuse me 1 minute. I left my husband looking after his supper, cooking, and I can smell burning.
Okay, I'll step in for a minute, Jill.
Did you check the coffee bar? I think it's burning.
This really is a woman's world, isn't it? So the women finished this wonderful quilt. We went to the conference. It was rather amazing for all of us, really, to have our work presented there and valued. But when they came back, the next question was, what can we do now? So what did we do next, Jill?
Well, we started on the animal embroideries. That was the next stage. And this was, the conference was the end of November 2019, and then was Christmas, of course, and the holidays intervening. And we came back to meet in the beginning of 2020, and we all know what happened early on in 2020. I was very busy initially because our Kenya Quilt Guild had a big exhibition, so we didn't meet for the first few weeks because I was too busy. And then COVID happened, and we were all at 6s and 7s. How were we going to go on? And we managed to, well, Stella and Karen managed, because by this point, being too old to rush around and sit in a room with lots of people and risk getting COVID, I was just sort of directing from afar and helping where I could. But Karen and Stella managed to continue getting places where they could be outside, stitching outside, and you'll see on the back of the catalogue, one of those scenes, stitching outside with masks on and distanced. And I think for the young ladies, Beldine will perhaps tell us, it was a lifesaver because they got together with friends, whereas most of the time they were isolated at home or trying to be very careful. And they started to stitch these beautiful animals. We started that, but then Iain came up with a brilliant idea. He said, why don't we make a COVID quilt? So we sort of paused with the animals for a while and moved on to looking at what they could illustrate for a COVID quilt. Technique being this very similar to the first Women's World quilt. And some of the scenes were amazing that they produced. One of the favorites being Abigail's, which Iain turned into t-shirts, which was a Superman-like figure with a bow and arrow flying in the air, shooting at a virus. We're all familiar now with the picture of the COVID virus. And that's what she did. I think it's on the cover, is it? No, it's not on the cover. So we moved on to the COVID quilt. And when the blocks were finished, I sent them to the US, to Iain, and there they were made into 3 quilts. I think we have Judy and Carol and Nancy. Are they all here this evening? I think they were the ladies who made the COVID quilts for us. This one,
that was Carol Churchill's.
This is Carol's, and this is the one that came back to Nairobi. Can I just talk about this quickly? Sure. This is the one that came back to Nairobi for our ladies to use, and Karen and her ladies in Kangemi took it into very congested areas, people living in some not very nice conditions. And the aim was to attract people's attention and try and persuade them to get vaccinated. This was in the early days of the virus when there was a lot of anxiety and there was a lot of worry here amongst people, rumors that it was going to make you infertile and all sorts of things. So they did the most wonderful job of collaring members of the public and getting them into the vaccination centres. So much so that the health authorities who were working in the centres asked them to come and help themselves. Iain sent the t-shirts, there they are wearing the t-shirts. And they were asked to help, when they brought people in, they were asked to help register them and just generally be on call for problems. And you can see the ladies, they're so happy with their t-shirts. And I think this was an amazing experience for them. I've not had a chance to speak to them en masse since this happened, but I think it was probably quite a life-changing experience for most of them. So that was the COVID experience. That went on really till the end of last year. And in the meantime, all you wonderful ladies in the US and Canada were busy turning our animal blocks into little quilts, and the result is amazing. I can't believe how beautiful they all are. I just showed yesterday a journalist from one of our local newspapers who's going to do an article. She's done 2 articles before for us on the Women's World and the COVID quilts. And she was so impressed with this catalogue. Thank you, Jonathan. She said it's such a sophisticated and beautifully designed catalogue. So I promised I'd pass on her comments to you. So that's how it all came about.
Oh, Jill, thank you so much. And, you know, just listening to you, it has been what, 2.5, almost 3 years now.
Yes.
And when I think back to where we first started with this idea of doing a quilt for the, oh, am I mute? No, I'm okay.
No,
doing a quilt for the United Nations and where we are now. It's you know, it's just very gratifying to have all of you together. We haven't been able to do this before.
No.
But now we have today our 2 leaders from Kangemi and Kibera. And if we could ask our project manager, Delaney, there she is, to introduce them. And we would really love to hear from them about what the projects have meant to them and where we are going forward with them in their communities. So Delaney?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning from California. As you guys built a connection through embroidery and quilting, I had the opportunity to build a connection with Stella and Karen through weekly meetings, and we've built a friendship, and it truly, my week feels empty when I don't have the opportunity to speak to them every week. And I know if I ever have the opportunity to go to Kenya, I will have 2 tour guides ready and willing to show me around the town. So I know this has been a life-changing opportunity for them. It has also been one for me. So Karen, if you want to unmute yourself, Karen is the point person for the Kingami Advocacy Self-Help Group, and she embroidered the crocodile and eagle. And Stella, who is our contact with Shield of Faith, she did the red finch, which is also what Iain calls her as a nickname. And Stella and Karen, thank you for taking the time to be here today. I know it's getting late in Nairobi, so we'll keep these questions. I know a lot of people have questions, so we'll get started. So I think the first question that we have is, how did you connect with others in your community and convince them to take on the project? Karen, are you there?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Delaney. When I was first approached about this project, my first action was to get and to go around look for the girls. Luckily, I was a volunteer in the community, and I was interacting with quite a number of the girls in the community. So it was not so hard for me to reach them and talk to them about the project and request them to join the project. So it wasn't that hard. I was able to reach another of the girls that I was, and some of them that.
Yeah, Stella, are you with us as well?
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here today, and I've been looking forward to this meeting all week. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, so I guess another question that we have written down is, what effect did the pandemic have on the progress of this project?
So first of all, I just really want to say that we were really happy to have the embroidery going on, starting in Kibera. I think it gave a very good opportunity for the women to come together, make new friends. And like Jill mentioned earlier, none of them knew each other. I think one or two knew how to embroider. And so this has brought a lot of skills exchange, a lot of growing, a lot of gelling as people from different communities. And I really want to thank AP for supporting the effort that these women have made, even to produce such beautiful pieces. I believe as we progress from the Animals of Kenya project into the COVID squares that we did in 2020, I believe, it was a very, I must say it was a very difficult time for a lot of us. There were many issues going around. There were, a lot of the women in our groups were not able to go and just earn a living as they would do. Most of them do run small businesses. A good number of them have opportunity to go out to different homes or estates and earn a living probably from domestic labor and other day-to-day wage earnings, if I may say. And so this gave them very good opportunity to come together and put their hands to task, learn embroidery, have a little stipend every week, get some disposable income, and this actually made life a little bit easier because we were able to start a little savings group. And I must say the group is still going on and going strong. So it did contribute a lot to making life a lot easier during COVID. It made it very easy for us to meet together because a good number of them were free. They had time to come and just build friendships and offload some of the stresses that we were going through, because at that time, remember, schools closed in Nairobi, schools closed in Kenya, actually. Our houses were really crowded because children are back home. They have to eat. There's a lot a mama has to do in the house. And so stepping out once a week for the meeting was very, very therapeutic for most of us. So I really want to say this was a life-changing experience. We exchanged a lot of thoughts and we put our heart into it. And so thank you. Thank you very much for supporting that. Over to you.
That's great to hear. Yes. So another question that we have is, what were the most important outcomes of the project for you and the group? I know Stella touched on it a little bit, so maybe Karen could take this question.
Yeah.
Did we lose Karen? Okay.
Sorry, Delaney, I didn't get the question. You breaking.
What do you think the most important outcome of the embroidery project was? Can you hear me, Karen?
Yes, right now I can get you. You're clear now.
The question was, what do you think the most important outcome of the embroidery project was?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. What I'll say about the outcome of the project was it made us come together and register the group as a self-help group. It also encouraged us as members to start the table banking. That was a small saving for us with the stipend that we are receiving. We were able to open a bank account. And to sum it up all is, it was very therapeutic during that COVID time. It really helped us come out of the house, come share, and have some interaction amongst ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I think that's a common theme throughout this entire project. I had the opportunity to speak to all of the ladies in Kangemi and Kibera, and all of them mentioned how therapeutic the process was in a time of isolation to come together, even if it was wearing masks and sitting outside, but being together and working towards something was very therapeutic. And Karen and Stella, one question that we have is, have any of the ladies connected with their Northern artists? I think there's a couple online who actually have.
So let me go first before Karen. Absolutely, we have had quite a number of friends from the Northern sister artists reach out to the ladies in Kibera, and most of them reached out by email, if I'm not wrong. I know there have been a few exchanges back and forth. I don't know how far their friendship has gone, but the ladies definitely were very delighted to hear from them and also see the pieces and how they turned out. So I know we are in a very exciting space, and even to meet them today on this Zoom call, I think they're really happy to do that. Thank you.
And Delaney, I'd just like to add here too, this is such an important piece for the Sister Artists 2 project. With Sister Artists 1, we were not able to connect our Northern artists and our sister artists. Most of those women had been victims of real tragedies, and we didn't want to publicize their names. So to have the opportunity this time to make that personal connection between the artists of the North and the South really has had an important impact, I think, for the artists on both sides. So we're very pleased that that has happened. I know not everyone was able to reach her sister artist, but for those of you who did, I would really encourage you to continue that. So, sorry, just.
No, please. And continuing your connection, we want to know if both of the groups will also be continuing with embroidery in the future. Karen, did you hear that?
Yeah, we're both muted again.
Sorry.
No, go,
okay.
Karen.
Thank you. For us, quite a number were not able to connect with the quilters. I think the issue was the misspelling of the email addresses. Some of them, I think, they were not working. So I was able to reach quite a number of them. Some of them, I lost their contact, or they lost my contact, and they also cannot reach me. So I'm still trying to follow up with some of the ladies who know where they can find them, and we get connected again, because after a period of not meeting for some time due to the COVID reasons, we went different ways, but we've been having a common communication wall whereby we pass information. And yeah, a few of them were reached. So about the project, whether we are continuing or not, we are so anxious, we are waiting, we are ready for another project. Yes, thank you.
Yes, well, we are too. We're very anxious to continue, and we know that we're going to have a large number of our original ladies and perhaps some new ones as well with additional projects.
Thank you.
And so from Kibera, thank you very much, Bobbi, for those words of hope. We are really excited, very exciting news today. For Kibera, we are looking forward, of course, to progress with embroidery. We also have on this call mothers of children with albinism. I think that was the next project that we did after the animal and the COVID quilt was done. And this is a special needs group that is very close to our hearts. Most of the mothers, actually all the mothers in that embroidery cohort have 1 or 2 children with albinism. And this for us is a very good opportunity to actually voice out the issues that are faced with persons with albinism. Most of them come from needy families. They are, like I said, special needs. They have a lot of special needs. They are susceptible to the heat of the sun. Most of them have been exposed to very strong rays and cannot afford what is this? Protective wear or the sunblock. And so we really want to progress and get this project to be a good advocacy opportunity for them. And using our embroidery skills that we learned over the 1 or 2 years, we are hoping to really come out with some very good and beautiful fashion pieces that can allow them to earn a little money on the side, allow the Kibera ladies to also plug in, because we put the 2 groups into one. You heard Delaney referring to us as Shield of Faith. We are now a community-based organization. We registered them in 2021, April 2021, and we are really happy that we were able to do that, because that allows us now to engage more formally. We are capacity building them, teaching them how to manage their cash. We're training them on how to continue with their savings, and we really hope to open a bank account for them so that as we progress the proceeds, we really turn around their lives and just eradicate the issues of day-to-day struggles in our community. Thank you very much. Over.
Well, Karen and Stella and Delaney, thank you all so very much for putting this into perspective for us. I'm interested in, Karen and Stella, how many of the ladies have now seen pictures of the quilts that have been made from their embroidered blocks? And what has been their response? Karen, did you?
Yeah, not all of them have seen them, because some of them don't have Android phones or smartphones. So they have not accessed the photos, but I think I was able to at least get the photos from Facebook on your wall and share them on our WhatsApp group. Those who have seen, they're so excited, they're happy, they're impressed with their work. So yes.
And have any of them seen the catalog yet?
Yes, I met 2 of the ladies who was able to give the catalog. They went through it. For the rest of the ladies, I just shared the catalog on the wall, and they were so excited. They're also looking forward to get their own.
Yes, and we're going to make that happen.
I told them so.
Good. And Stella, did you have anything to add to that? I think we may have lost her. Well, ladies, now we have, I was going to count and I can't, the screens are split and all. We have such a large number of our Northern sister artists with us. And you've heard what the project has meant to our Kenyan sister artists. I think from what I've heard in the stories that you submitted along with your quilts, as well as the quilters I was able to talk to yesterday, I think some of the outcomes are similar for the North and the South. But now that we have all of you here, we really want to give you an opportunity to share with the Kenyan sister artists what this has meant to you. And I'm happy to call on someone, but if anyone would like to jump in and tell us what this whole experience of connecting with someone half a world away, with sharing the work that you love so much, just let us know how you've done here. All right, where's someone I can pick on? Well, Kathy Labonte, this is your second quilt. Tell us what's going, now unmute.
Sorry about that.
There you go, that's okay. We all deal with it.
No, this is my second quilt for the Advocacy Project, and it's wonderful to participate in this worthy group. And it's just so nice to know that it's making a difference for, the ladies on the other side of the ocean. And it's great to know. And I'm so glad that Beldine signed on too. And I did name my quilt for her because she's the one that embroidered it. And it was so nice to see her too. And we did email a few times, and I'll definitely be emailing her again.
Thank you. And I see in the chat here, we have a wonderful message. Christine Danler, who did a sister artist quilt this time, this was her first one. And like many of you, she said, well, let me know if you need help again. And I said, well, Christine, I have these blocks from the Albinism Society of Kenya. These women are very anxious to have their stories told. Would you make an advocacy quilt? And she said, Christine, here you go.
What I said was, when do you need it? And then I'm like a month or so late getting it to Bobbi, but I'm working on it. You want to see it?
Yes, of course.
Okay, at the top is almost finished.
And that's what I've found with so many of you when I've made the connection. I go back and think, oh, can I ask them to do another quilt? And no one ever says no.
I'm going to show it kind of pieces, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Let me back up, actually.
Okay, that's really nice.
Can you see, like, it's pretty big.
Yes, it is.
Not really that, not huge, but I wanted to try these white rings on this kind of neutral background, browns and tans, and these are all applique rings onto and some circles. And when I quilt it, I'm going to do some couching with some fancy yarn. I'm trying to get my long arm freed up so that I can finish it up. The quilt I've had on my long arm now is been on there for about 4 months. So that's the holdup, essentially.
Well, and the other exciting piece is the other albinism quilt, because we had enough squares that we separated them and decided to make two quilts. Another one of our ladies on the call today, Jane Cancelleri, did the first albinism quilt. And it's a lovely one, very different from Christine's, but the two of them will certainly go a long way to raising awareness of this really important issue. So Jane, thank you so much for yours as well.
You're very welcome. It was my honor to do that. And I found this whole thing to be, when I did the first one, the Wildcat, it was just I was using a new technique that I just learned during COVID, the landscaping and doing that kind of technique. And I said, well, I'll give it a shot. And it was fun. It was really an honor to do this. And I'm relatively new to quilting. I've been sewing my whole life, but I've only been a quilter for probably about 8 or 10 years. So it's taken me some time, but I started quilting when I retired from teaching. So, but this has been an honor to connect with these women, and their embroideries were gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. So who are these other familiar faces? Dawn Piasta from Canada. How nice to see you.
Good to see you all too. Oh, it's so great to see your faces. I can feel your voices in your emails. It's wonderful to see your faces and put them together. Advocacy quilting has become a part of, when I wake up in the morning, it just kind of changes me, you know, what direction I want to go into. Many of the projects that I work on, I just need to have meaning in each and every step. I've been participating in advocacy project quilts since probably 2009, when the house became empty. I wasn't needed anymore, you know, as a mom and all that. And life has changed. And I feel a connection where being part of the whole just makes your feet stand on the ground a little bit more firm. And I know I know the struggles that I've learned of the struggles that the women in faraway countries are going through, and those that are currently going to be going through that have never experienced this before. But even my own struggles, I found that quilting and advocacy projects is therapy. It's therapeutic for me, and reassuring for the person that we're doing it for. So I will not be stopping this anytime soon. I love it. And it drives me. It really drives me.
Well, and it's really nice to hear you using that word therapy again as well. And I've heard that from many of the quilters during the pandemic, to have had this purpose to be quilting and to be connected has really made a difference. I know personally it's made a difference for me as well. Mm-hmm. Some of the stories that you have written to me have really touched me, and I know how personal it has been. Really would love to hear. Donna Bergman just moved. She was a member of my quilt guild in Wilmington, and I guess I was going to say coerce, but I don't coerce people. But I was looking for more volunteers for sister artists. Can you tell us about your experience, Donna?
Well, my sister is out helping my brother look for some property because he had a house fire a couple months ago.
Oh my gosh.
So he's been living with us. But last summer when we got the animal blocks, my sister and I were in an apartment, so we were transitioning to when we could move. And it was just a wonderful thing to have our sewing machine with us in an apartment and to work on this project. It's first time that we've been involved, but we've seen Bobbi at our quilt guild with other quilts that she's done, and we're both really happy to do this project. My sister did the hippo and I got the elephant. I must admit, though, that when Bobbi talked about it at the Quilt Guild, I rushed home. Well, it was on a Zoom call. I immediately got, and it's like, oh, I want this animal. Oh, somebody else got it before me. I want somebody else got it before. I mean, the animal embroideries were just so beautiful. I used to do hand embroidery. I can't really do it anymore. And it's just amazing, the embroidery work from people who have just begun a journey of doing embroidery work, that they were able to do that. So Bobbi called last month, and my sister and I are working on a COVID quilt from Bangladesh. And so it's getting ready to be quilted. So we've been working on it, and we're added some fish because there were a lot of fish in there, and took us a while to figure out a layout for it because there were 10 blocks, and a lot of times you think an odd number with your blocks, but we got a layout and fabric to add. So we're pretty excited about it now, and should have it ready in another couple weeks to send down. So we're very happy to participate. It's just a wonderful organization to help the women in other countries. My daughter-in-law is from Nepal, so we had visited Nepal the year that they had the earthquakes, and the spirit of the people was just amazing. They wear the bright color clothing and a smile on their face, and you know, it's in our country, you hear people complaining all the time. You don't hear them complaining. They just continue on. This is our life. I'm going to make the most of it. And it's just wonderful. So.
Well, thanks, Donna. And actually, you know, I want to make a connection for you here too, because your counterpart in doing a COVID quilt from Bangladesh is also on our call today. Where are you, Deborah Weir? I'm sure, I thought she was here. Deborah? Okay, you're still on mute.
She's there. Okay, I think I got
There
it.
you are. There you are.
Took me a while to unmute. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just finished
Fully
my
understand.
COVID. Yeah, I just finished my COVID quilt yesterday. And I really enjoyed working on it. The quality of the embroidery was just mind-boggling, just absolutely impressive. I also got 10 pieces, so I had to do a little primitive geometry on that, and it was fun. And I got some fabric that I designed some fabric with fish, because clearly these women live near water, and there's a lot in their artwork about the fishing and all. So I designed a little fish fabric based on a former quilt of mine, and I got all that on yesterday. And the person who's helping arrange the quilting is coming on Tuesday morning to pick it up and get it quilted. And it's just been a lot of fun. And this is actually will be my third participation in one of the advocacy project stitching at opportunities. So it's been really fun. Also, this picture on the screen here of my piece of the ostrich. We were in Africa, in South Africa, and saw this amazing ostrich up a little up a hill, and just a huge, gorgeous bird. So I had to pick this for my choice. And those are actually real ostrich feathers, but no ostrich was sacrificed to get the feathers on there. Anyway, and I didn't know Carol Churchill was making work, so you could ask Carol Churchill next what's going on. So anyway, it's just a pleasure. The whole thing, it's great to see Iain. I've never seen Iain before, so all of this is just wonderful.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Let's see, who else is here? And Deborah, you look fine. Deborah told me that she didn't want to be on camera because it was so early on the West Coast, but I'm glad you took a chance.
Thank you.
One of the things that impressed me about these quilts was the level of research that some of you did about your animals. And Lynn Flaherty are you still here, Lynn? I'm pretty sure that we had the conversation about whether your animal was a cheetah or a leopard. And interestingly enough, another sister artist who did a leopard, who was Ellen Fisher. Ellen Fisher was with us yesterday and also Friday as well. And she said, you know, and I talked to her about it early on. And the two of you both researched your animals and decided, yes, they were leopards, which meant that you had to set them in a certain way. So we certainly appreciate that. This is Lynn's quilt. Would you like to say something about it, Lynn? She's still here. Maybe we lost her. Lynn is currently moving from North Carolina to New Hampshire. So I know that her life is very disrupted, and I'm awfully glad she was able to join us. Are you here, Lynn?
Can I say a word, Bobbi?
Yes.
Lynn has obviously researched that. That looks like Mount Kilimanjaro. And yes, it is snow on top. We have two mountains in East Africa, Kilimanjaro actually in Tanzania, but on the Kenya border, and Mount Kenya in the middle of the country. And they both have snow on top, even at the hottest time of the year. A lot of people don't know that. So I thought I'd just point that out, that that's geographically correct.
Good. You know, we we have scrolled through all of the quilts, and not knowing who was going to be joining us ahead of time, I'm wondering how many of our Kenyan ladies have seen their quilts here, and if they would like to comment. Karen and Stella, maybe you can help us out a little bit. And Jill too, because you certainly know the ladies and the squares that they made.
I'm not seeing many people at the moment. How do I do that?
This is Veronica. If you look at the second page, there appears to be about 10 people from the Kenyan side of the advocacy project.
Let's see, who do we have? Oh, Agnes is here. Agnes, who did the beautiful flamingo.
And is also on the front cover.
Yes, can you, would you like to comment on your embroidery and this quilt, Agnes? Agnes, can you unmute for us? Anyone give us some help? And I see, I don't recognize the names.
That's Anne there.
Where is Anne?
Anne Mutai.
Okay.
She's next to Kathy on the screen, between Kathy and Jonathan.
Yeah, I think we have probably different screens.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Anne. Here's Jonathan. Oh, yes. Anne, well, yes, I remember Anne very well from our trip to Kenya. Tell us about your quilt. I don't think we're hearing anything.
No.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Ruth Mwangi?
Yeah, Ruth.
No,
did you do one of these blocks, Ruth?
Hello.
Yes. Did you do one of our animal blocks?
No, I did one with the albinism. The children with albinism.
Well, good. It's nice to meet you, and I'm sure that we will hear a lot more from you. As you've heard the ladies speaking, those albinism blocks were very, very impressive. And we hope that they will do some good.
We are so happy to meet you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed that Veronica Mays raised her hand. I was wondering if you had a question that you'd like for any of the artists.
I actually have a statement because Irene is on here and I finished Irene's rhinoceros. And so Irene, I did try to reach out to you by email, but that connection didn't happen, but it was just really great to collaborate with you. Thank you.
Missing some names.
Hello.
Oh, there's Agnes now. Yes.
I'm the one who did the flamingo.
Yes. So
one of them from Kibera. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Yes, this is Agnes. So Susan and Agnes, I can introduce you.
Hello, Agnes. It's so nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I really love working on your block. I was so impressed by the embroidery that you did and everybody else did. It was really wonderful. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And we should write again. You know, we have been writing. I'd love to hear from you. This was very special, and I hope to do it again. Maybe we'll collaborate again. That would be special.
Geez, I have lost my screen.
Oh, no.
Hang on. Okay, a little technical difficulty on my end. I'm sorry. Abby, can you keep the conversation going while I figure out what I've done here?
Yeah, so I think at this point, I mean, as amazing as it is to hear from everyone, I was wondering if anyone kind of wanted to expand more on the idea of connections. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. This whole purpose of this conversation was, connections. And I was wondering if any of the Northern artists will try and show your quilt wants to talk, expand on that idea of connections they either made with, Africa, Kenya, their sister artists, any stories you'd love to tell about your quilt.
Oh, good.
I just wanted to say that, these projects, all of them, there's so much going on in this world. And sometimes I know for myself, I feel a little bit helpless about doing things. So this was really a great opportunity to feel like I'd made a difference, or that I could really do something in some really real manner that really benefited. Well, it was great for me doing it, but it was also benefiting somebody else. It was using what I love to do and being able to connect with being able to do something for somebody else too. And that was great. And it's always wonderful connecting with somebody that's on the other side of the world. That's pretty exciting.
It is. Thank you so much. I just noticed there was a chat from Mary May. Don Piasta had to leave us, and Mary May, who is on here, used the term to describe Don as a stalwart quilter. And earlier this morning, when I was going through everyone's profile, Mary, that's exactly how I described you, as a stalwart quilter and a friend of the advocacy project. And luckily for me, I actually made the in-person connection with Mary last fall. So tell us a little bit about your quilt as well, Mary, and just your experience with advocacy project.
Well, I was very impressed, as everybody else has mentioned, with the embroidery, the hand embroidery on the water buffalo block. It was very detailed and just very well done. And I was really impressed with it. And it's always kind of nerve-wracking working with somebody else's embroidery work that I didn't want to mess it up. So I think I speak for almost all of us when we're working with other people's work, that we're like, oh no, what if I mess it up? So, because we only get one chance to do it. So, but basically some of the elements that are in that this quilt are the diagonal rows at the bottom are kind of representative of the water buffaloes being used for farming purposes, plowing. So like every other diagonal row is kind of earthy color for the ground. And then the opposite, the next row is colorful because supposedly in Kenya, they export a lot of flowers. So I wanted to include that. And of course, the stream, the watery stream thing that flows through it is, to represent, where the water buffaloes like to hang out and cool off. And then there over on the right-hand side is a little leopard it's kind of peeking around the corner. And I included that because from the research that I did, the water buffaloes always have to be cognizant of the dangers that are around them too. So, but it was inspiring to be able to work with that block. And, I was happy to be able to find some of the fabrics that I found too, like the one that says Kenya on it. So I incorporated that in several spots. And then the map of Africa that kind of goes, those little squares go above the diagonal pieced blocks. So I was able to use that too. So, but it was just inspiring to be able to work with that block and to produce something that I'm very pleased with how it came out. So.
Thank you. I was just thinking, can you imagine what this conversation would be like if we had all of us together in one room we had the rest of the day to continue. I think that would be really wonderful. I know that there are people that I have not yet heard from, but I did want to check in with Rhonda O'Keefe. Rhonda O'Keefe has done a wonderful, very positive, amazing quilt here with this sunshine over the zebras, and just wanted to check in and see how you are.
I'm doing really well. I guess I can tell you the kind of unique thing about my experience with this quilt. I got my beautiful embroidered square about a year ago at this point. And before I had a chance to do anything with it, I had a stroke. So I spent about 2 weeks in the hospital and then in rehab. And part of what really got me through it and helped me to come back was thinking about what I was going to do with the square when I got home. So I was lucky that I came home and was able to finish the square, and thrilled to be part of this, my second advocacy project quilt, and happy to be here.
Right. Thank you so much. I have to say that some of the stories that I got from you, some gave me goosebumps, some brought me to tears. I have felt really, really close to all of you, and I wish that we had more time to bring you together so that you could share these stories as well. But we do want to ask, are there any questions that Northern artists have for the Southern artists, or Southern artists have for the Northern artists, before we get onto a little bit more business and we'll have to, unfortunately, finish up? So questions, anyone at all? Raise your hands or just unmute. Kathy.
Yes, where can we send some of the sunblock clothes and sunscreen?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Stella, can you help us out there? We still have Stella? Okay, yes.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
So I can get in touch with Delaney and give her all the details. We are very much in touch with the women, the mothers, and definitely that will be a great help. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I can definitely follow up and make sure we build that connection again and let you know all of the details. I'll connect with Stella and make sure.
Excellent.
Well, and actually that's another of our forward-looking projects. Stella has proposed with her ladies beyond embroidery, actually beginning to make hats, bucket hats for people who have albinism, and raising money selling bucket hats to support their project as well. So another project that's come from this very beginnings 3 years ago when we were making the quilt for the UNFPA. What else? Let's see. I did want to recognize all of you quilters who have stepped forward since sister artists to work on advocacy project quilts. We have Ann Watson, Christine Dandler, Peg Sullivan, Deborah Weir, Carol Churchill, Susan Lewis, Mary Harned, Donna Bergman, Judy Miller, Nancy Hirschberger, Kathy Springer and all her friends, Jane Cancelleri and Edith Gross, who is a sister artist one. You inspire me every single day, and to get to meet you virtually, to get to meet you here today, certainly keeps us all going. But we do have a little bit of business we would like to share with you. Iain, can I ask you to update us on the auction? Let me hang on.
Yes, indeed. Well, first of all, let me just sort of reiterate what's been said. Incredible to see everyone coming together, and this partnership extending into a real life conversation. So exciting for us. And I think quite important to remember that this is so different from the normal north-south discussions where you have people in the north who know all about it and have all the money telling people in the south how to act and behave. And this is completely different. This is a partnership between artists in Africa and North America, working as partners, connecting, as Bobbi and Abby have reminded us. Really exciting. So Karen, Stella, Ruth, Agnes, to all of you in Kenya, thank you so much. And we remember all of you from working with you in Kenya. Thank you so much for participating, and we hope that this partnership can continue. Really is very, very inspiring for us to work with you. Stella and Karen, two leaders down there in Nairobi, you're remarkable people. We have so much admiration for what you do, and proud to know you, and very grateful for your friendship. So I had to get that little bit out of the way, but let's get on to some business, because as you know, we're auctioning your quilts. And by your, I mean north and south. So they are being auctioned. The auction's going quite well. It's going to continue until next Saturday. So if any of you are itching to write a check or spend some money, that would be great. Just go online. And a big shout out to Abby in particular for putting that auction up, managing it, and making it as good as it is. It's very user friendly, and I think that is one reason why we're getting the bids. But the material's great. I'm not going to say any figures at the moment, how well we're doing, because that will get everybody too excited and raise expectations. But I can say that we are well over $5,000, and we are hoping to get to the big 10 by the end of next week. So we're going to keep at it at our side in our little team, and we have high hopes for that. Now, it's also, I think, very important to point out that whatever profits come out of this will get reinvested in our friends in Kenya. And we are relying on these two associations, Shield of Faith and the Kangemi Self-Help Group, to come up with some really good projects that we can then continue to support. And Delaney will be your point person on that, obviously, in our team. We have some great ideas. Stella and Karen are entrepreneurs of the highest order. Karen went out and mobilized her team, and they got 2,000 people vaccinated in the Kangemi settlement. Really, I mean, a big round of applause. Absolutely amazing. And Stella has launched a fantastic composting project, which is incredible in this very crowded settlement. She wants to make bucket hats for mothers with children who have albinism. I mean, there's no end to the initiative and imagination of our friends down there in Nairobi. And we are pleased and proud to be able to support that work. So we'll come up hopefully with some good news in a week or so, but we will definitely have some money to put into your great ideas. So again, thanks to everyone, and we really look forward to continuing to work with you.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
as I'm sure it's obvious, we'd love if you'd keep spreading the word, keep buying catalogs. You know, they make a great gift, as you all know. So just really keep. You guys have all done such a huge help. I mean, this project really wouldn't have been possible without any of you guys. And we really just want to do your quilts justice in this auction.
And another important part of what we're doing with all of us together is networking to spread the word, to spread the ideas that we have here. Some of our Kenyan embroiderers would like to continue that as a business. We would like to be able to set up a shop to sell their embroideries to you, to other crafts people. So look for that, more information about that in the future. And let's see what else. And right now, just, you know, tell your friends if they can't buy a quilt, they can buy a catalog that will help to support the project, and continue with your, both North and South, continue with your generous and giving hearts, continue to reach out to one another. I think that, you know, in this era of war and pandemics and general dissonance, you make the sunshine brighter. You certainly do for me, and to be a part of this is one of the great joys of my life. So I thank you for coming. Any last words, Abby?
If Jonathan, our last team member,
I'm sorry, I forgot
spoken,
it.
yes, a little spiel about your catalog.
Oh yeah, as some of you have gotten a hold of the catalog, yeah, I was in that weird kind of position where I knew a lot about you, where you guys may not have known about me, but I actually had a very interesting perspective, and it's very surreal to see all of you. And I think I just want to add on, what I really appreciated about this project was that, I mean, if we think about needlework as a whole, it's ancient, it's the oldest form of art that we have as a species. And I think that the way that we were able to, see each other kind of like, and bond over borders and across these great distances, needlework really speaks to the solidarity, the kind of heritage of needlework that we have. But with that being said, yeah, definitely, I'm very glad that you guys enjoy the catalog, and I hope you guys can consider giving it as a gift to some of your friends and whatnot. And we all know the proceeds go to a really good cause.
And my mom actually had a wonderful idea that you could cut out the pages of your quilts and frame them and put them next to your quilts when you hang them up. So I thought that was a really wonderful idea of how you can keep using the catalog to kind of add to the display that these quilts will get.
Right, so buy two.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, again, thank you one and all from the bottom of our hearts. This has been such a delightful way to spend a morning with each one of you. And again, I'm going to hold that vision of all of us together in one room with our needles in our hands and our stories to share.
And thank you. Thank you, Bobbi.
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you,
Thank
Iain.
you.
Ian and everybody too.
Well, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Karen. Our pleasure, our pleasure.
Thank you.
Anne, hello.
No, it's just so hard to see her
Ruth.
beautiful face. Irene, and Irene.
Hi, Liz. Hi, Liz. Agnes. Oh, golly. Where's that wonderful catalog? I'm going to get the picture of Agnes. I have to go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now look at the rest of the comments here.
Agnes,
Yes,
we love your picture.
thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Everybody says what a fabulous picture that is. Look, you look so happy.
Beautiful smile.
Oh, really
Always
special.
happy.
So special. And Anne, how are you?
I'm good.
Anne, it's so nice to meet you again.
Oh, yeah.
We should mention maybe that we hope that Bobbi and Delaney will be able to come down and visit in Nairobi. So they'll be able to spend some time with you guys. Really looking forward to the thing. What do you think, Delaney?
We'll be so glad.
We're ready to go.
Okay, bye.
Bye.